Hello everyone, welcome to the next lab of EC 270 Embedded Logic Design Monsoon 2021 semester. In the previous videos, we discussed about our problem statement is to find the GCD of two integer numbers. We discussed two approaches. The first approach is using the while loop, and we saw that the while loop is not synthesizable. Then the second approach is using the for loop, and we saw that the for loop is synthesizable, but it may work for certain range of input and it may not work for certain inputs if the number of iterations are not properly defined. So how to write the Verilog code for such cases? So as I told you, this was a challenge given to the in the previous years of the ELD, and one of the students came up with a very interesting solution. Now, again, this solution we will go through in detail about this code, but you will see that this solution is similar to writing the MATLAB, C or Python code. And that's why there are certain challenges with this solution. So to begin with, let's understand how this solution works. Then the first thing is that the student, instead of implementing as a combinational circuit, he implemented it as a sequential circuit. Okay, why the sequential circuit? Because now you can't define the number of iterations in the advance, so you need to dynamically define the number of iterations. So what you need to do, you need to take the decisions at the end of every iterations that whether I want to continue to the next iterations or not. And if you are going to continue to the next iteration, you need to save the current state of your circuit in the memory, and that's why you need a sequential circuit and not the combinational circuit. So what the student did, they defined the sequential circuit where you have the input clock, clear, go, X in, that is the input for the GCD calculation, and then there are two output done to indicate that the output is completed, and the GCD value. Okay, these are the multi-bit signal. So what happens? So in the beginning, when you clear everything, you make the done is equal to 0 and GCD is equal to 0. So when done is equal to 0, that means your output is not yet completed. Okay. Then you have also defined the internal signal calculation, which indicate that there is an ongoing calculation there is a ongoing calculation in the current circuit. So initially it is 0, that means there is no ongoing calculation. Then the user inputs the values of the X in and Y in and press the go signal. So the go signal is an indication to this circuit that there are new inputs are there, and this new inputs, for this new input, GCD needs to be calculated. So you can see that if the go is equal to 1, I'm going to capture the values of X in and Y in, and I'm making the calculation is equal to 1, which indicate that I have started the calculation of the GCD. So when the calculation is going on, I'm not going to accept the new input. Okay, so that is what this indicates. So if the calculation is equal to 1, that means if the calculation is going on, what I'm going to do, same thing, I'm going to compare X and Y. If a larger number, I'm going to subtract it from the smaller number and replacing it with the difference. And when the X is equal to 1, I'm going to output the GCD value. I'm going to make the done is equal to 1. I'm going to make the calculation is equal to 0. That indicates that I have completed the calculation. So you can see that this is a very neatly designed code which performs the GCD calculation. It is synthesizable on the hardware. Everything is fine, but the problem is this is the code is designed by the software developer, and the problem with such code is that they are very difficult to debug. Because if something goes wrong, it is very difficult for someone to debug the code. Also, the problem is that there is no standard way of developing the architecture for the algorithm. Like suppose that tomorrow if I give you some other algorithm, then there is no standard way that okay, I follow this set of steps and I get the Verilog code. No, there is no standard way. This is all depends upon how the algorithm is, how this code, what are the different internal variables like calculations and done, and how they are managed. So there is a lot of interdependencies is there, and such type of code should be avoided by the hardware engineers. So to overcome this issue, people came up with the strategies for algorithms to architecture mapping. And what is this strategy? It is very simple. For any algorithm, you divide your algorithm into the two parts. One is the data path and one is the control path. What is the data path? In the data path, you do all your combinational circuit calculations, like comparing whether x is greater than 2, subtracting x minus 1, replacing the bigger value with the difference, storing the data. So all those data operations you do in the data path. In the control path, you take the decision. You decide at what point you need to perform which operation. For example, in the beginning, when you receive the go signal, you need to capture the x and y value. Then you need to check whether x is equal to y. If both are same, your GCD calculation is already done. If x is not equal to y, you need to ask the subtractor, which is present in the data part, to do the subtraction value. Then you need to ask the register or memory in the data part to replace the larger value with the different. So at what time, what operation needs to be done, it is decided by the controller. Okay, so usually any digital system today are always implemented by this logic, where as a hardware engineer, whenever you are given the algorithm, you internally find out the what is your control path and what is your data path, and then you separate a Verilog code for this one. Going back to the your counter example, it is also if you see that counter example, 8-bit counter, it is also divided into the two part, controller and data path. Your data path as one was the always at star, where you are doing the count range is equal to count next is equal to count range plus 1. That is the data path where you do the operation on the data. And in the control path, what you do, you check whether if the reset is the input, then you make the register is equal to 0, else you take the assign the output, which is the register, with the next value. So all the decision makings will happen in the control path, and all the data processing happens in the data path. And you might have realized by now, this control path is done using the FSM. So like you have studied in the previous lab, the FSMs are used to design the controller, while the arithmetic combinational circuits are used to determine the data path. So data path manipulates and processes the data, performs arithmetic, logic operation, shift operation, and any other data processing tasks. It consists of register to store the data, multiplexers, adder, decoders, ALU, any circuit which is performing the data operation is present. It provides all necessary resources and interconnects among them to perform the specific task. So to conclude, data path is the unit which takes the instruction from the controller and performs the data operation. So it interprets the control signal from the controller, and it performs the data processing and gives the status back to the controller. So this is how the data path works. What is the controller? Controller is the main unit. It decides at what point where the data should go into the data path, which unit of the data path should be activated, and understand the status signals from the data path and generate the control signals for the data path. So controls the data movement in the data path by switching multiplexer, enabling, disabling the resources. Provides the signal to activate the various processing tasks in the data set. So it provides the control signal. Determines sequence of operation to be performed, like at what time, whether you need to first compare X and Y, then do the subtraction, or first do the subtraction and then the compare. So all those sequence will be determined by the data path. Okay, so what we are going to study in the next video is that how this concept of the data path and the controller can be used for the GCD calculation. Okay, so this is the concept will be applied in the next video on the GCD calculation.